Tonight's demo is the Caladium, okay? And the Caladium comes in lots of different colors, but they are very big leaves with lots of pretty pinks and greens typically in them. And they can be a challenge to paint, but once you see how I break it, I'm going to paint it big because my intention is to incorporate this into a future painting in a class that I will be teaching. So I'm going to share with you how to create it in a big form that's got more detail to it than if we were to just stroke it with a single brush. But I am going to show you the single brush stroke lesson as well. So you're going to get a twofer tonight. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get to my overhead camera. There we go. And so here is the Caladium that we're going to be working on tonight. All right, so this one I chose. I don't know the name of the variety, but I loved it because it had this like glowing veins of bright pink in it, and then really variegated pattern of greens going around on a very soft pink background. A lot of them look and feel like papery thin, but they're very robust. Okay, long, tall stalks and stems. And so I'm just going to set this over here and I'm going to sketch this out. I pre-sketched it so I can trace the lines darker so you can see it. Okay, so we start with a U. It's got a deep U shape coming into it. And what's unique about these leaves is you don't actually see the stem. All right, the stem actually protrudes from right back here in this center spot underneath that U and then comes out the bottom. So we're going to do the stem, but you're only going to see it as it comes past the side of the leaf. Okay, and they're very wavy and they've got a pretty little point. We're going to do a curvy point on that. All right, and then on this side, we're going to have it come around. So they're kind of arrowhead shaped, and we're going to curve it in like that, so like it's flipping over just a little, and we'll give some more waves here, and then we're going to curl that tip right there. Okay, and then in here is where those veins are. So it all starts from this center point right here, which is dropped down, oh, about half a finger from the bottom of that U shape. And they radiate out from this kind of like a star shape. So you've got 5 points coming out here, 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 and down like that. Okay, and it's very thick right in here. That's where it joins to the stem. And I'm just going to darken these so you can see them. If you were to paint this on your own, I would highly recommend that you trace in, or sketch in, sketch in the veins for placement, because they do go up into these lobes of the leaf, off into the sides, and then down into the point. Okay, so, and they're fairly thick veins. All right, so hopefully that's coming through and you can see them a little better. There we go. Okay, and then this final one comes out here, so that side is all fed by that vein. Okay, so now I have this part right here that is flipped over, and we're going to bring it through just like that. And then the stem, now the stem comes from, like I said, right here, and so what I do is I kind of follow in a nice curve, and then where it comes out from the side of the leaf is where I'm going to sketch in that big thick stem. Okay, all right, so there you have our sketch. We're all ready to paint, and we're just using 3 colors tonight. I have all my colors put out on my plate right here. We have baby pink, classic green, and magenta, and then I need some floating medium. Now these leaves can get really big. Down here in Florida we have monster ones, right? They get as big as like your upper body. They're really big. So I'm going to get my 3/4 flat dampened here and ready to go. And the first thing I'm going to do is just wash over with the baby pink. So I'm going to grab a bunch of medium, And I'm going to get some baby pink and I'm going to work that together outside my puddle. Just off to the left here, a little more medium. And then as I need more, I'll come back and pick it up, okay? So just set that right there. And let's come down just a hair closer. I think we're good right there. So it's important when you're doing this that you stroke following the pattern of the growth of the leaf. All right, so I'm going to come up here and come into that vein, and it's a nice smooth raised arch. I'm going to get just a little more color in there. That's a little lighter than I wanted it to be. We're going to come around this arch here and down, and then just keep pulling that in. Okay, so very pale pink on this side. I like this baby pink. You can make a pale pink with magenta and white, but then the white's going to make it fairly opaque. So you have to be kind of careful with that, because if you want it to be transparent, is what I meant to say, then you don't want that white in there so you can see through to your lines. So it's kind of a watercolory look. All right, and then we're going to come up here. And then I want to come from this edge, right out here at the edge, and pull it around, following that growth pattern of the leaf, okay? A little more medium and a little more pink. Mix it together on your brush first, and then come add it. There we go. Okay, and then up here. Now from here, I'm going to push and just kind of follow that outside wavy pattern, and then from that edge, I'm going to pull it up to the stem, or to the vein, excuse me. There we go. Okay, so we've got that all filled in. This is kind of an oversized painting, if you will, but these are how big these leaves really are, okay? And then I'm going to finish, just put this pink right in here. And there we have it. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I'm going to grab a 12. Get that damp, and what we're going to do now is put in our first pass on those veins. So I'm going to come and load with magenta. Okay, and just getting a nice single color load on both sides, work that into the brush, and then we're going to come right in here on this main stem, on the chisel edge of my brush, and I'm going to come down and lift. Okay, that's really bright and vibrant against that light pink background. Everything comes from that center point and radiates out. There we go. So it's important to tip back and trail to get those little points on the end of your stroke, like that. And we'll finish with this one right there. Not all of them have the little Y's on the end. Some of them are singular, tipped. Okay. Now I'm going to let that kind of set for a minute. Let me clean this brush, and I'm going to come and get a blend to make brown. Okay. So you can blend green and pink. So magenta and classic green. And if you blend the two, it will make a brown color. A little more green. See that brown? So it's a red and green together make brown. All right, so it's just a little bit different variation in that color. So I've got a little medium on my brush. I'm going to come right up here on this stem, and then I'm going to just pull down and lift. Okay, so it's tinted a little green, and we like that because this stem actually has some green tones to it. And I'm just going to come side load a little more green and restroke a little more on the chisel with the green to the left side of that stem, and that'll give it a little depth or roundness look to it. There we go. Push that over just a little bit. Okay, so clean that brush again. And this is pretty close to being dry. So what I want to do now is I want to come and get medium on the 12 flat. Okay, and we're going to side stroke some magenta. And I don't want that too strong, so a little more medium. And we're going to kind of shove that over so it's more to the left, a little bit thinner. Okay, and that's what we're going to work with. So let me come down now, since you've seen that. It's right there. And I'm going to shade along both sides of the stem, so that's going to make it glow even more. Now that's still a little wide, so if I twist the brush and push down on that flat, it's going to shove that pink over, shove, 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 and thin that out just a little. There we go. That's what I want. So just following along that edge and lift. Okay, that's a little bright. Let me add, you know what, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of the baby pink to tone it down a little bit. That's okay. All right, and we'll restroke this and shove that over. There we go. Okay, so a little more of that baby pink on there. All right, and we're going to do this on both sides of each of these veins. So we're going to lift and push and lift. Remember, when you're shading or doing this kind of floating, you're always on the flat of the brush. And if you're worried about the way it ends, actually what you can do is start at that end and bring it back. There we go. A little bit better look to it. A little thinner, more pointed. There and there. Right, and bring it back up to the top. All right. So I'm going to keep picking up the blend of magenta and baby pink. And we're going to come from here. There. And there. Okay, so I'm hitting on one side. Now I'm going to flip the brush and work that in and bring it up. Remember to lift your arm off the table, right? When you're painting, don't rest your arm. You'll get a much better range of motion if you lift it. Okay, a little more medium. And let's get this bottom one here first. go. Now you just have to keep turning until you get a good angle. So we're going to get this side. And then we'll start coming up from the bottom. There. Now, I got a little carried away with my color on my brush, so I wiped off and I'm going to reload because see how far over that got? So if you come in here with the medium on that brush, you can clean that up a little bit. There we go. So the pressure on the flat is what makes that feather out and look shaded rather than a hard line, okay? That's why it's so important when you're doing this that you are on the flat of the brush with pressure. Okay, just keep rotating and working your way around. Oops. Yep, so this will be offered in a future class as part of a design with a little bit different look to it, but I just wanted to share it with you so that you can see how it's actually quite simple to create as long as you break it down into steps. Okay, now let's come back this way and get these other sides. There. Here. So I'm fixing these points so they don't have two sides to them, okay? And we'll get this side, oops. There. Okay. It looks a little bit like a body part, but it's not. Kind of like a human heart. Okay, almost done with this, and this is probably the thing that takes the longest amount of time. The rest of it's more fun. Okay, I think I got everything. Now, what I want to do next, while I've got this color on my brush, is I'm going to grab a little more medium and I'm going to kind of work this into this side of the leaf. Leave this side paler, and this side's going to be just a little bit darker to emphasize the rolling or movement of this side of the leaf. It's a little more dark, maybe a little bit shaded or something, but it just gives a little more realistic look. So I'm just working that medium with a little bit of that magenta into this half of the leaf. See that? Just kind of darkening that up and blending that all together, see? Okay, so there we are. All right, so now I'm going to take this same brush and I'm going to get more medium and we're going to side stroke some of the green now, okay? Now, you might ask, why not just double load the baby pink and the green and do the whole leaf that way? Well, you saw what happens when you blend pink and green together, right? You get brown, and I didn't want a brown edge, all right? So I'm going to start right here, and we're going to go with the green to the outside edge, and we're going to get a little narrow in some spots, a little thicker in others, all right? So, whoops. Give a little bit of movement here. And let's turn this now. There we go. So I'm going to make this a little bit thinner right here and then let it get wider up there. See that? It just gives it a little more realistic look. Keep going with that same load and color. We're going to come from the tip here, push down, and go in and out like that and lift. Okay, now I'm going to come around here and do the same thing. So let's come this way first. Get this fairly dark right in here, okay, without losing that pretty curve. We want it to look rounded. Oops, I'll pick up pink. Let's try that again. Let's come on this side of it. There we go. I'm trying to make it fairly dark so that it covers up those pencil lines too. There we go. So you have to keep moving it to get the movement in the leaf. All right, so we got some thick green there, which is what I wanted. All right, so now before I leave this, I'm going to come back with that load again, and I'm going to come right here with the green up and float underneath that curve right there. There we go. Okay, then you know what, actually I'm going to get a little bit of magenta on the other side. Let's get some medium, a little bit of magenta, and work that in. I don't want to get brown, and I want the magenta on the bottom side of this so it's a little bit darker against that line there. Oops. There we go. Okay. That's it. Just like that. All right, now this is the fun part. So I clean that brush, and I'm going to come and get medium. Let's grab a bunch of this green and put it right there. We're going to get medium on the brush, and we're going to work the medium and the green together. I want it fairly thin, and then we'll work up to some darker spots later. Okay, so I've got that mix. And what we're going to be doing is tapping the corner of the brush and rolling the brush side to side. So in my fingers, rolling it, tapping that corner. Okay. So you're coming from the outside edge, tapping that corner, and leaving space. So it's light, transparent, and you can get heavy in some spots. In some cases, it comes right up to that vein. So it's kind of a slip slap, but you're barely tapping that corner. And move the brush around so you're not all one angle. This, my second version that I did, that I shared with you, the final painting of the first one, I was a little heavier and it wasn't as pretty. Okay, so come from the outside edge, work your way in and get, it's heavier in terms of coverage here, right? You're covering more area here, and then it gets smaller and more sparse in between. Medium and the green. Okay, right in here. Now there's no pattern to how this goes on, and every leaf is different. So just kind of have fun with it. Get a photograph, that's what I did, and find one you like and go for it. So this is the first layer of green. We're going to come in and add some darker, and then we're actually going to do a little bit of a blend with the baby pink lightly so we don't get brown. Okay, right in here. Notice how transparent that is, okay? So it's lots of medium and a little bit of green. Start out very transparent. You can always come back in and make it darker. It's hard to take the dark away once you get it in there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Just a few spots up in here, right in there. Now, let me wipe off some of that medium, and I'm going to come get some stronger green on the corner, and we're going to just strengthen a few areas out by the edge, not here in the middle, just near the edge. So tap that corner. You can do a few in there. Here, come right out to that edge, and then tap little bits coming in a little ways. Just sweeping that corner left and right. See that? Leave space. Don't cover the whole thing. Come down here to the tip. See how this is drying now, and so it's very transparent, so you've got opportunity to come in and add some darker. And now it's coming together. There we go. A couple more areas right in here. There. Okay. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of the pink, the baby pink on the corner of my brush, get a little bit of the green on the other corner, and we're going to, let's get a little more than that. It's not coming out. And you can add little bits of that pink back in there. You just don't want to work it, or it will turn that brown color we don't want. Okay, so just little bits of pink. That's going to really kind of help set some of those darker green areas. And it's going to add some variation in color of the pinks in that lighter half. Remember, this half was a lighter pink. On this half, it's going to make it lighter on top of the dark. See there? So be careful not to pick up too much. Right in here. There we go. All right, now just a few finishing touches on this. I need my script liner. I'm going to get that damp. And we're going to get some baby pink on this. A little bit of water. I'm not going for inky, but just looser, thinner. Okay, And to give these veins a little bit of dimension, just sputter a little bit of this. I gotta put my pinky down. A little bit of this over the top of the center vein, just to give it a little like highlight. But it doesn't go the whole length and it doesn't cover the entire area, just little sputter spots, okay? Let's come this way. See there? All right. And then clean that up, and I'm going to get a little bit of inky green. Okay, and we're going to come right down here because we want a pretty little curled tip on this. There we go. Because they have pretty curled bottom points on them. And if you feel like you want to get some stronger line going on some of this outside edge, you can do that too. All right, and there's your Caladium. Now, I want to just show you real quick also that you can do these in a smaller version, like if you're doing a small pot of them or something, okay? So, what you want to do is we're going to double load the light pink and the baby pink and the magenta, okay? All right, so let's come down here. And so what we want to do at this point is you're going to do a little stem like this. And the light pink's going to be to the outside edge here. So we're going to go up, wiggle, wiggle, come in. So up. It's a smooth stroke, okay? So the wiggle's just at the top to give it a little bit of movement. And then we're going to come down and form the point like that. Excuse me. And then from this side, first I want to come and make that U shape right there. And pressure, push it out, come in, out, in, and stand. Okay, so you get that arrowhead shape. Like that, all right? So you're not so concerned, when it's this small, you're not so concerned with the veining like we were with the close-up version, okay? Once you get the shape, then, I get a little medium on my brush because it's dry, then you can come and do little chisel strokes out. Or you could use a script liner, actually, might be better. There and there. All right, so see how that's creating that little shape, and then come and get your script liner with your green. Okay, and all you're going to do with this is kind of outline it. Because it's so far away, you don't really need to do much detail. Okay. It's a little better if you can wait for that to dry, but You get the idea. All right, and then you can come in and do a few little dots here and there. Just tap. Actually, if you tap like this, you'll get the look that we're going for, right? Because again, it's far enough, you know, small enough and far enough away that you're just seeing the color and not so much the actual shape. Okay, so you're just kind of tapping around. There we go. And then to finish that, you can come through from here, push, and stand up. Now you could get brown, a mix with the magenta. Would probably make a little more sense here. So let's lay that down. There we go. Okay, so that's how you would do something like that. And then I would, just to finish this off, come in with a little bit of the baby pink on my liner, right? And you can just add a little bit of highlight to help those veins show up. See there? So that's a little bit easier in a smaller version. Get a little more magenta and bring that in here. Probably would have been better to do those with the script liner. There. Okay, so little and big, but they're very pretty, and they grow in pots. They all come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and there you've got two different looks of them. So that's our Caladium demo.